Greetings, fellow action figure connoisseurs, and welcome to another episode of Digital Caveman Presents Surprise Thursday. I, as always, am your host, the Digital Caveman, and today I will be presenting you with the Dungeons Dragons Classics Presto. Let's get into it! Let's begin our magical mystery tour of a far-off fantasy land with a look at the packaging. And here we have 40, because it's the 40th anniversary of Dungeons and Dragons, and then, you know, nice, the animated roller coaster where they went in a portal, and there's some nice artwork of Presto, assortment number 4 and up, Hasbro print, plastic-free packaging! Warning, don't stick things in your pie hole that do not belong there. There's a QR code if you want to scan it. There it goes. And then on this side it says, Presto, the magician, tries his best to aid the team with magic and items from his hat of many spells. And then right here it says Presto, nice digital render of the figure and his die. And then on this side, some nice artwork of Presto doing some magic. Then on this side, again, nice digital render of Presto. It says Dungeons and Dragons here. Presto. There's digital render of the accessories, digital render of the figure, and kind of an action pose. Cross sale of Wave 2, Eric and Sheila. Each sold separately. Figure to scale. And there's a bunch of other languages too. Includes figure, 4 accessories, and 1 die. Again, in some other languages also. Small, fine legalese made in China print. Symbols I'm not going to learn. There's the barcode. Attention, don't stick it in your French pie hole either. And plastic-free packaging, in case you forgot from where I said it in the front. And then recycle Hasbro print. That, my friends, is a look at the packaging. Let's take a look at the figure and his accessories. And first up, let's take a look at the die. And it does still have that nice marble-like coloration, or the marbling coloration, that the rest of the line has. So, you know, I think that's nice. And it's cool that, you know, it's Dungeons and Dragons and they put dice in it. Here we have Presto's wig for when he takes his hat off, because we'll get to that in a minute. And it's an okay piece. It's a little more difficult to get on and off than, say, a G.I. Joe Classified Series wig. But those pretty much just kind of fall off anyway. Just bump them and they fall off a lot of times. So, on some figures at least. Here's one of the magic effects that posts into the hat. And you'll see it's got kind of a hexagon shape with a post. That's how I describe that part. And then you have that same shape here on the other magic effect, which is a more drawn out piece. So that's pretty cool. Now let's take a look at Presto. And come on, hat. The hat does come off and you can see it has that same shape where you can take this magic effect and post it in. He can hold the hat in his hand, and then this piece like clips on, I don't know where it clips. Maybe his wrist, maybe his hand, maybe his finger. So there's that. And then this one also fits in the same way. And he holds, you know, the hat in one hand, and then no telling what's coming out of this hat. And then you can see his head has that same shape on it as well. Now, the way the wig removes is there's like a lip running around on the inside, and it clips around. Well, if I can get it off, I'll show you. There we go. So you can see almost like a Marvel Legends thigh post right there. And then you can see that. So the hair pieces do swap out for when he's not wearing the hat, so he doesn't walk around with this funky looking post on his head. And we'll just pop that one on there right now. Now on my particular one, the head is pretty much stuck. The hinge here works, so he can look up that high and he can look down that low. But the way that they have, it's instead of just putting it on a ball, there's a very thin post in there with a ball on the end of it, and I cannot loosen it up. I've tried heat, I've tried hot water, and so he probably is supposed to have the full Exorcist and chicken neck and waggle, but mine does not have that, and I'm afraid to twist it up too much because it's going to bust it rather than break that ball joint loose. So quite disappointing. 360 degrees of rotation at the shoulder, and he can raise his arm up that high. Single hinge and swivel at the elbow, swivels around 360 degrees. And approximately 90 degrees worth of bend. 360 degrees of rotation at the wrist on an in and out hinge. And the other hand, the pointing finger is, what is it? It's an in and out hinge as well. I forgot to mention about paint apps and stuff. But you can see his eyes and his glasses, and then maybe this part of the shirt. And this is overlay, but this looks like a paint app on that overlay. And that's pretty much it for the paint apps. Maybe some, no, that's all molded in color down there as well. So, at the waist, he doesn't quite have a ball joint. I'm not sure exactly what it is. It looks more like a shoulder hinge looks, kind of. So, but he can spin around 360 degrees there, and then he can lean back that far. And you can see there's that hinge I'm talking about that's under there. So he can lean back that far. It lets him lean forward that far. And then he does have some left and right motion. So he's got some hula going on there. So that's cool. His robe is split up the sides, so you can get a little bit of the splits out of him, about that much. About all I can get out of him. Feels like the legs are stuck too. And again, I've heated this guy up and he just does not want to cooperate. There is nothing at the thigh. Single hinge and swivel at the knee, swivels around 360 degrees, and we'll give you approximately 90 degrees worth of bend. At the ankle, tilts down that far, tilts up that far, and he does have forward-facing pin for rocker. So, at least some of his articulation is useful. So that, my friends, does it for a look at Presto and his accessories, if he'll stand up. And of course he's not going to, but there he goes. That does it, and there he went. So that's a look at the figure and its accessories. It's time for my favorite part of a review, comparisons. And here we have the entire line of Dungeons and Dragons Classics with Dungeon Master, Bobby the Barbarian, Uni the Unicorn, Diana the Acrobat, Sheila the Thief, Hank the Ranger, Eric the Cavalier, and Presto the Magician, with their main villain, Venger. For our final set of comparisons, here we have the Dungeons and Dragons Classics Presto the Magician, with from the Marvel Legends series making his cameo appearance, Stan the Man Lee. From the G.I. Joe Classified series, the Hasbro Pulse exclusive Regal variant Cobra Commander. From Star Wars The Black Series, the Archive Edition 501st Legion Clone Trooper. And for a 7-inch scale comparison, from the Masters of the Universe Masterverse line, the 40th Anniversary He-Man. For final thoughts on the Dungeons and Dragons Classics Presto, I have to say, I really wanted this line to be great. I don't think it was destined to be so, because they knew there's only so many characters that they can do from the animated show. And it was just kind of build up for this last Dungeons and Dragons movie. I can't think of the name of it, but the Chris Pine one. So I think this line was basically Hasbro intended it to be a throwaway line, at least due to the quality of the figures and what feels like a lack of effort put into them. That's the way it really feels. This figure in particular, now the whole line suffers from frozen joints and stuff like that, but at least on the copies that I have, this one is the worst. As far as his head, I cannot get it unstuck. I may try some shock oil. I'll have to get some to try it and just see how that works. Maybe it'll loosen it up. Probably it won't. But thankfully, he has a wig or wigs to change out for when he's wearing the hat and when he's not, and you don't have to swap the heads, because that would have just been a nightmare for this figure. And I think there was a little bit of thought put into it where, the hat, he can wear the hat, he can take the hat off, you swap the hairpiece out, you can pop magic effects in the hat. So I think that was a cool idea for this character. And the materials used and the design of it, I think it just really suffered. And the fact that he has all this articulation and can't really use it is just, it seems like a waste. And again, it makes this line feel like it's a throwaway line. Now, one of the things that I did, appreciate is the fact that, each figure comes with a different die, but they're all colored the same. So when you finish the line, you have a set of dice you can use to play Dungeons and Dragons with, if you so desire. But again, this figure, just it was disappointing. And I mean, just the line itself, disappointing. And I'm glad I really didn't pay, you know, full price for all this. I caught all of it on sale. So that's one thing I can say about it that doesn't make me super sad. But you know, I remember this cartoon fondly, and it's disappointing that it just didn't live up to expectations. And you know, we waited all these years to get figures of these characters, and then, you know, it's a throwaway line. So, well, that does it for the review. I hope you enjoyed it. I sort of enjoyed making it. Only support from viewers like you make this programming possible. Each view does count, and I do appreciate each and every single view that I receive. Thank you, and thank you so very, very much for supporting this channel through viewing. If you're interested in supporting my channel further, I'm now offering memberships at various tiers. Click the join button on my YouTube page, or check this video's description for the link and see if any membership offers are right for you, but only if you were in a position to do so. Comment below, like, share, subscribe if you would like to see more content or just help the channel grow, or both, that's even better. And don't forget to ding that bell so that in the future you will be notified as my new content becomes available. That's a wrap, folks. I'll see you next time.